Let's get physical, physical. I wanna get physical. Hey everybody, welcome back to Simply Amazing. It is so simply amazing to have everyone here. I am Lisa, aka Nocturne, and of course we have my simply amazing co-host here as well.
What's up, guys? I just love that lately every episode we're doing happens to be a Lisa concert. And, I kind of feel like you're like becoming the Dazzler of this whole thing.
Oh,
And
shut
I
up.
love it.
I have
I
so
love
many
it.
Dazzler shirts. I have so many Dazzler shirts. Wait till I start pulling out my Dazzler shirts. I freaking love Dazzler.
I think at some point we should allow ourselves to do episodes, like side episodes, even if they're not directly related to Kurt or family or whatever. And you know what? Dazzler's an honorary part of the family. Let's be real. Let's do an episode on Dazzler.
We will
But
do
hi, guys.
We will. Well, hey, actually, Dazzler fits because you understand Dazzler was on the team with Nocturne in New Excalibur, and they've had some moments. So we can find a reason to talk about Dazzler.
Yes.
Let's not sleep on my girl Talia Josephine, because Talia Josephine was the lead singer of a little group called the Butt Monkeys. So let's not forget about that.
And on that note, yeah, hi guys, I'm Lauren. Your friendly neighborhood bi fan of the Butt Monkeys. I didn't realize I was, but I suddenly am. And we're here having a delightful time at the Dazzler concert.
Yes, exactly. Let's get physical, physical. I wanna get physical. Actually, if I were to give Dazzler a Olivia Newton-John song, it would be Xanadu. I think Xanadu is a Dazzler Olivia Newton-John song.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I,
yeah.
I feel like that too. So why did you choose the physical song to see? I feel like there's a reason. What are we talking about this episode?
We're talking about Kurt's body and
Oh,
positivity. Actually, we're talking about something very, very, very specific that has to do with body positivity. I came across, I tweeted about this a couple days ago, which by the time you guys listen to this, it might be a couple weeks ago. I don't know. We don't know our schedule yet. Calendars don't exist in the multiverse. I don't know. Who knows? So I found the panel. It was from Excalibur #2, which thank you so much to Kino and Armin from the Discord for finding that for me and helping, because I had found the panel and then I'm like, wait, where is this from again? And I pull out my Excalibur Omnibus trying to find it like a needle in a haystack. Like I'm trying to find this panel in the
right.
Excalibur Omnibus, and I'm like going on the Discord like, please help me. And they came through. So thank you so much, Armin and Kino, for that. That was amazing. There's a panel that spoke to me in a moment, and it clicked. So the panel is, and we'll post it for you guys to see, of course, because I don't know if you noticed, but podcasts are not a visual medium. So I'm going to try and describe it as best as I can. In the panel, Kurt is basically flying at this crowd of humans with foot out, in all Kurt fashion, looking like the fabulous blue furry elf he is. And as he is, they're looking at, the people are looking at him saying, "Oh, help, a demon." I actually have it right in front of me. They're saying, "Lord, have mercy, a demon, a horror." And then there's a woman, and she's got a little thought bubble. And in her little thought bubble, it says, "A cutie." This goes back to what we talked about in the last episode where, Nightcrawler is supposed to be a good-looking guy with a weird body. It's supposed to be all that. And what it brought up for me, that is something that I think a lot of people in general, but I think a lot of women especially, or just assigned female at birth people, anyone really, anyone who had a feminine growing up situation, um any of us who grew up, just kind of disliking our bodies, which I think most of us did, right? We all went through those awkward teenage phases, awkward teenage times. And it brought that back to me, the being reminded of those times when you were told you have such a pretty face, but.
Mhm.
And it kind of, I don't know, it kind of put a bullseye maybe on why I might have been so attracted to Kurt in the beginning. of finding this character who, he's born into a body that is deviant. It's deformed. It, like, there's no other way you can put it. I mean, by our standards, his body is deformed. It is not something that should have happened. It is completely mutated. It is completely inhuman. Um, and but he's a good-looking guy, but he's completely deformed. However, he is someone who still thinks he is the hottest man in the world. He thinks he is the cat's pajamas. He is leaning in to kiss every hot woman that he possibly can. Okay, granted, a little sex pusty. It was a little, he was always kissing women in the 80s. Nowadays, we look back on that and say, okay, you should have asked first. But,
and I think
back in the day, it was a little different.
I think even back then, I'm looking back at least, what I've read, there's probably stuff I've missed clearly, but back, a lot of the stuff I read, again, he was a very flirty, charming guy, and yeah, he flirted and all that, but a lot of times if he was pushed back, he backed off, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
But so many people lead into that charm, because, like you're saying, despite the fact that society's like, oh my god, and you're deformed, and all these things, they still couldn't help but lean into how much he loves himself. And not in an egotistic way, but in that he accepts himself, the flaws of his body, what's great about it, what isn't. He leans into that, and it's his charm behind that is so intoxicating and genuine. It's not fake. It's not a show. And yeah,
that's exactly it. And the thing is like his confidence and his positivity, it doesn't translate. Sometimes, when those of us who have been talked down to or bullied in the past, once we get our confidence, we can overcompensate and it becomes egotistical. But his doesn't. His is very, it's very grounded, and but he still believes in himself. He knows who he is. And I think that's so important. And it's such a beautiful thing to see as a woman who is approaching 40, um, who has struggled my whole life. We're all friends here, BAMF Nation, so, be gentle. Someone who struggled my whole life with body positivity, which I'm sure everybody out there has. We've all struggled with our bodies, even I remember being a teenager and reading like YM magazine. Remember YM magazine? Like, I remember reading that, and I remember reading like articles about like the actors and actresses and models of the time, and then being like, I hate my tummy, it sticks out, and being like, shut up. But that's the point. We all, doesn't matter what you look like, we all have things we don't like about ourselves because we are trained that way. And it is so refreshing to have a character like this who it doesn't matter what other people think. He is so powerful and so strong in his confidence in himself. And that, I don't know, it's just, I just, something about this panel just really clicked with me, and it just made me think like that this makes so much sense looking back on my own experiences and the experiences that we all have together, that this character would really communicate to me so well. And it makes me wonder, about, because, there are so many, there's such a huge female fan base for Nightcrawler that I've noticed in my 20 some odd plus years of being in the fandom. So that also makes me wonder. I mean, not just that he's, hot blue guy, but, it makes me wonder if other people have also picked up on this, maybe subconsciously, of that kind of feeling of camaraderie, in someone who has gone through similar experiences, even if it's fictional.
yeah. And when you brought it up, because Lisa was the one that, brought this up to me about, talking about this panel during this episode. And when you explained it to me originally, before it came on here, I was like, huh, okay, yeah, let's talk about this. And now they've said all that, I'm completely with you. I think for a lot of us, it wasn't even a direct correlation. Like, I didn't sit there and go, oh, wow, he's making me love myself more, I love him. But it's very subconscious, and that, yeah, like, I think Kurt as a character in a lot of ways was kind of ahead of his time and how he was written, and that I would actually argue he wasn't even just about being body positive, because he knew he was flawed. He knew people saw him as ugly, and he didn't give a shit. He didn't say, well, I'm not ugly. He said, yeah, I'm ugly, but I am also pretty. I am also handsome. I'm also all these other things. And he didn't shy away from feminine compliments, being called pretty or being called handsome or strong like a guy, right? Like a more masculine, compliment, I guess you could argue. Um, he embraced all these things about himself. He embraced the fact that ugly isn't bad and that pretty isn't everything and that you can be all these different things at once. And yeah, I completely identify with that because there's a lot of things I don't like about myself still to this day, right? And that's just going to be a thing. And there's a lot of things that others see in me that I don't see in myself. But I typically find the times where I feel most comfortable in my own skin or where I don't care what other people see. I know what I see, and that's my truth, and that's really all that's relevant. And Kurt is the epitome of that, and he encourages that in so many people, whether it's people and other characters in the comics he's with, whether it's us fans. I completely agree with you. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
completely agree, and yeah, I'd love to hear more just from people that listen to this podcast. Like, do you guys feel similarly? Kind of like you brought up, Lisa. Like, holy shit, like why is Kurt so well loved? Like, even though he's not Logan or Wolverine, as big a name as he is, Kurt is still one of the most famous X-Men, I would argue. But it's in a different way, and I think this is part of that.
100%. I mean, I would say, when he died, that was probably that was an enormous change to the X-Men when he died specifically, because of what he represents to the team and what he represents in general. Um, Going back to what you were saying about other people's opinions, I just wanted to say this because this just came into my mind. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard over the years, and I have no idea who to attribute it to. So if anyone knows, let me know. But other people's opinions are none of your business. And what that means is like, who gives a shit what other people think of you? And that is a really hard thing to come to terms with, right? That is a really, really hard thing to come to terms with and decide. But the freedom that comes from it is worth it. So I just recommend it to everybody. Other people's opinions are none of your fucking business. So who gives a shit what other people think of you, right? That's the beauty of that. It's not easy to make that decision, and it's not, and it's one of those things. Once you decide that, it's something that you need to decide that every single day that you're going to continue to do that. But it it's
Yeah,
very
and
freeing to no longer care what other people think of you, and to no longer put. And again, it's not a matter of like, I don't care what people think of me, so I'm just going to go outside naked and shoot my gun into the air. No, 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 dude. Okay, like there's a line, right? So, but it's a matter of just live your best life, everybody. Okay. I just feel very like I'm gonna be 40. I feel like the mama all of sometimes. All right. Everybody out there, just live your best life, live your truth, do what makes you happy, do what makes you feel good. You are perfect the exact way you are listening to this right now. You don't need to change a goddamn thing for anybody. That's the truth, and that's the way it is. All right. You don't need to change a goddamn thing for anybody. You are perfect exactly the way you are. And you just need to come to terms with that fact. That is the truth.
I think I liked what you said earlier about the fact that every day it's a choice. And I think that's the thing that Kurt most represents because Kurt isn't the character that just says, I don't care about what people think. And then he seems perfect all the time. He never struggles. He never does actually slip and does worry what people think and then has to get back on his feet, right? He does slip, but he's always persistent because every single day he makes that choice to believe and not let other people get to him. And sometimes he can't make that choice a day. Sometimes one day it's a struggle and people get to him or things like that. And he struggles. But then the next day or days after or whatever, he gets back and he says, you know what? I know who I am again. Here we go. I am choosing to know my worth. And it is a
Exactly.
choice, not in that, like, I don't want to say that in that, like, I don't know. I feel like there's some weird implication with that I'm not processing well enough. But anyways, it's a choice and you have to choose it. I'm saying that because it's hard because some people think, "Oh, well if I just say once, I don't care about people, then that's true forever." No, that's not because you're going to struggle. Kurt is the exact example of he makes that choice every day. He's the better of us not because he never cares what people think, but
Hmm.
because he makes a choice constantly to not let that determine his worth and determine how he can make an impact and help others. That's why he is
100%.
so close with Logan. He is the epitome of what Logan wishes he could be, but cannot ever be. And that's why Logan will always say he is the best of everybody,
That you
because Kurt is.
that what's funny is I love that you brought up Logan here, and because you're absolutely right. Logan does mention that. He says he's the best of them. I've heard it said that Kurt is the most human of all the X-Men too. Which is funny because he's the least
He
human looking, but he's the
exactly.
most human of them because
Yes.
he's also been called like the heart of the team. He's been called the moral
Yes.
compass of the team.
Yes.
Which these are all facts. These are all true. But you're absolutely right with Logan, where it's a great dichotomy, the two of them, because I'm sorry, I just put my hands in front of my mouth. Look at me, a stupid podcaster, putting my hands in front of my mouth while I'm talking. Um, it's such a great way to talk about them because on the one hand, you have the man who on the inside is a monster, and on the other hand, you have the monster who on the inside is a man. That's really what those two characters are, you know?
And I love that Kurt, because Kurt and Logan are very similar in that, they both are seen as monsters to other people, but they have completely different reactions to that. Now I feel like we have to do an episode on this. So I'm going to cut this short because
Oh
I feel
no,
like now this has to be an
we're
episode.
definitely going to be doing.
But,
We're going to do several Kurt and Logan episodes.
oh, for sure. But specifically an episode on how Kurt and Logan are both seen as monsters, but again, react completely differently to it. Whereas
Yes,
Logan gets all emo and does the whole, oh man, everybody sees me as terrible, and that's, I guess, all I am. And Kurt is the opposite. Even though people see him as bad, and specifically how he looks and all these things, he doesn't let that determine. He doesn't go, for lack of a better putting it, he doesn't go the emo route, the whole self pity and all this stuff. Yeah, there are moments where Kurt's like, "Fuck everything. I feel terrible. Everybody's terrible. People are terrible. Maybe I should just do this forever." But then he gets back and he's like, "But that's not a thing." And I'm completely with you with back to where this whole thing started, where as particularly as women or feminine presenting people, right? Often, and men go through this too, I know, but I feel like often we go through it to such an extent that we reflect so hard on this with Kurt because we do that all the time. I feel like we're the ones that say we're good, we're strong women or feminine presenting people, and we can take care of ourselves and be independent, and we got this, and we do all the 90s girl power stuff, right? And then we get run over again by men or even by other terrible feminine presenting people, and then we fall down and we're like, great, everybody's terrible, men are terrible, this is terrible. But then hopefully eventually we get back on our feet and say, hold on, men, not all men are terrible and not this. We just gotta remember our worth. We go through these motions, and
yes,
Kurt's a perfect example of that, and he's
yes.
so relatable.
And I just want to make clear too, like we're not excluding anybody. Like you said, everybody goes through these issues, and like men, women, everybody in between, everybody does. Um, I think I want to make clear, like we're not excluding anybody. It's just we speak on our own personal experience, and we're women, so that's kind of or women presenting. So that's kind of where we're coming from with that. It's not a matter of excluding. Like if anyone else out there wants to chime in and give us their own personal opinion, please, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear from someone who is not female or female presenting,
Yeah,
what their
absolutely.
opinion is. That absolutely, like I said, we can only speak for ourselves. So but yeah, it's just I thought it would be a great way to talk about this. And I don't know.
And
I love to be, what I love to be? I love to be a down bitch. I love to be somebody who is going to cheerlead at people all the time. I was at Comic-Con, and like I was dressed as Wanda Maximoff, and I went every single other Scarlet Witch I saw. I was like, yes, bitch, yes. Like I'm here to make everybody feel fantastic and feel amazing, because that's what you are. Every single person out there is amazing and unique for their own reasons, and y'all deserve all the happiness and all the beauty and all the unbelievable success that the world has for you. So just own it and love it and know that you're worth it, and you are beautiful and perfect just the way you are, and Kurt loves you just the way you are.
I couldn't agree more. Um,
This
and
went
I think
along.
that's
Oh yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm
I think
sorry.
that's the message. No, you're good. I think that's the message that Kurt gives out everywhere he goes and every person he talks to. Like, why do you think he tries so hard to be forgiving with people that we otherwise ourselves don't think deserve it? Because he if he can find a way to not only try to be positive all the time and love himself, but accept himself even for his flaws, and even admit that he is flawed constantly, and accept that parts of him are ugly. He is ugly in some ways. He is also amazing and wonderful. If he can see all these different things and recognize all of them are true in a fantastic way, he would definitely see that in all of you, because we are all the harshest on ourselves more than anybody else, including Kurt. And he is the harshest on himself. And that's what this whole podcast is about. Like, I just love that we did this, because one panel inspired this whole conversation.
I
And that's just how
know.
powerful comics are. That's how powerful Kurt is. That's how powerful art is. And that's how powerful all of you guys listening are.
Absolutely. And you know what I want to know? I want to know what you guys think makes you amazing. I really do. For those of you guys listening, tweet at us like something that makes you amazing. I don't know, like something that you do. Do you draw? Do you dance? Do you sing? Do you I mean, like you might not be as good a singer as I am, but we can't all be perfect, guys. Let's
And
get
and and
physical. Physical.
And it doesn't even have to be an artistic talent, right? It's just like,
No,
do
anything.
you do things that help people? Do you whatever? Like, literally anything that you're like, hey, I do this thing and it makes some good impact. It can be the smallest thing to others, it can be the biggest thing to others. It doesn't matter. Anything. There's no thing that it has a good impact that is considered monotonous. If it has a good impact in any way, it is absolutely worth it. Where was the panel from that inspired this? What Excalibur issue
Excalibur
or
number
comic?
2. It was number 2. So it was from the
Okay.
Werewolves of London story. But yeah, yeah, please like let us know what you do that makes you amazing. If you don't do anything, that's fine. You're amazing anyway. But let us know if there's something exciting you want to share with us, please, and we want to tell the whole freaking world about it. So just let us know about it. We're going to spread it out to everybody. So you can do that by finding us on our Twitter at Simply Amazing Pod. It's simply AMZING pod. That's our Twitter. We also we got Night Scrawlers on Facebook. You can find me at the OGNACHTURNE. That's the OG Nocturne on Twitter, and I'm on at Nocturne NACHTRTURNE on Instagram. I'll put these somewhere so you guys can find them easy. And where can they find you, Lauren?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at friendlymBHDby, and there's a link in there to all my other links. That's a great starting point. But yeah, come let us know what you think's amazing. Come talk to me directly. Come talk to Lisa directly. Come talk on our Simply Amazing Twitter. Um, I just really love that we talked about this, because it
I
really
did
goes back to
too.
why we, called this Simply Amazing, because that's exactly what Kurt wants to remind us, that even with the good things about you, with the ugly quote things about you, you are still and are simply amazing.